smooth transitional flow of the democratic process since 1999. For some, the country has been given an improved profile, at least for a democratic society. But then the expectations are still high, bordering largely on lack of leadership accountability, public transparency, as well as the people's inclusion. There are, of course, issues to contend with. That of corruption will still rob the people of the desirable democratic dividend. The polity is also awash with demands and submissions on how the nation's democracy could be deepened and also have impacts, largely. And also the conduct of credible elections through appropriate institutional as well as legal reform. What is the trajectory today? And what are the perceptions to better the process as well as the practice? How far can we go in closing ranks between the government and the people? These are some of the issues for discussion on Nigeria Today. Welcome to the program. My name is Blessing Abu. Now to discuss the issue of Gav on the burner, let me introduce my guest. I'd like to start off with far left, Professor Muhammad Sani Yahaya is a former Vice Chancellor with Taraba State University and also Deputy Chair, Buhari Campaign Organization. Yes. Welcome to the program, Prof.
Thank you for having me.
Also joining him on set, we'd like to introduce and welcome Hamzat Gudaji, is a legal practitioner. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Okay, let's break down first thing first. 19 years being on the trot, firing from all cylinders without any break. Democracy, for some, have come to stay. But really, how deep or how deepened have we gotten with this process? Prof.
Thank you very much, Madam. You know, we are in the process of democracy. We started since independence, and now we are in so much. We have fired so far, and you can see that this country is faring very well under the leadership of new government, which is the APC government under the President Muhammadu Buhari. And you have seen that in the past, we have series of leadership under different party and under different philosophy. But presently, you can see the nature and the achievement we have achieved under the APC government, under the leadership of the present government, that anybody in this country would testify that, yeah, he has felt the dividend of democracy.
Okay, before we get to what the present government or administration is doing, I still want to get back to that appraisal of democracy praxis in itself. Let me get to Gudaji. 19 years after, can we say we have a democratic process in all its entirety?
I think we have been evolving democratically. Our evolution has been positive to a certain extent, although there have been setbacks, which is expected. But on the whole, if we take a look at where we were in 1999 to where we are today, if you compare, I think it's very obvious that a lot of gains, democratic gains, have been made. However, like the professor said, it's a process. We'll continue evolving until we get to a stage where we can say we are satisfied.
Okay,
but so far so good.
Let's break it down further. I know for some, so for their different measurements for the process, like we've pointed out, yes, we've had this undisrupted process, okay, from one form of election to another, yes, transiting from one administration to another. Yes, it's been 19 years of unbroken path.
Yes.
But then, can we now use that to measure the health of democracy? Like
obviously, because I'll give you very specific examples.
Okay.
Take, for example, the quality of elections. You will agree with me that we have been improving on the quality of our elections. Okay. The elections of 1999, well, probably, definitely better than the elections of 2003. But then the elections of 2007 were qualitatively better.
Okay.
So as the one for 2011, so as the one for 2015. And I have no doubt that on the path we are, the elections for 2019 will be far, far better, and it will, of course, improve on our democratic gains, it will improve our institutions, it will improve the kind of leadership materials we produce.
Okay. All right, Prof.
Yes.
For some school of thought too, and for some other observers, yes, it's a democracy we're practicing. But then, we're gradually directing affairs from the democracy without the Democrats. Whatever happened to the Democrats?
Yeah, they are there. You know, the process of democracy need to follow rules and regulations. And most of the parties that you see that are registered, they have their vision and mission. And this vision and mission have to be practicalized by the politicians themselves. But if you find a somersault in the practice of this vision and mission, you tend to derail from, you know, what the actual vision of the party. Now you see that we have a lot of parties that are registered under this dispensation, and most of the parties are clamoring to celebrate all of us. The issue is national interest. But in the process of actualizing the national interest, you find that some people try to use their own personal interest that overrides the national interest. In that case, you find that a lot of problems will set in, and that's why we're having some problem in some parties. Some have to leave the party to defect to another party, and others are defecting to come from one party to another.
Which is one of the focus we're trying to look at. If we say we're actually getting better, but from what we've seen recently, the gale of defection is as if no one really cares to see what we're trying to build.
Yeah, you see, it's not the defection that is a problem. The defection is part of the maturing processes of the party. You know, people have to defect from one party to another. What the reason for defection, that's what matters. Are you defecting for your party not actualizing the vision and the rules that the party has been registered for? Are you defecting because the party is not doing what the national interest is required of? Are you defecting because the party or the people that are in the party are not actualizing the vision of the national interest? But if you find that now, if we want to analyze the defectors now, you will see that now in the FEC, that is in government, and if you compare the leadership of this present government with the previous 3 years leadership, you're able to know that are they working for the nation? Are they working to actualize the national interest? Is the APC government doing what the principle and the vision of the party is said or wanted the people to the leadership of the party to do? So for you to know that, you're able to see, you have to look at the problem, see the insecurity before, look at the economy. In the party now, this government of APC, are they addressing the party, the insecurity that we were having before? Are they addressing the economy, which is then part of the national interest? Are they addressing the infrastructure that is decayed? So when you find that these people are working in tune with the principle and the vision of the party, and some people are still defecting, then you tend to ask, why are they defecting?
Well, perhaps, the lawyer here will be able to tell us if democratic values are not being embraced, whether at the highest level of government up to the lowest cadre of the society. Because in essence, what is democracy for us? Or is the system of government for all? Is that not the definition people have given us? So where do we hinge the part that we're not getting it deepened enough for the people's inclusion? Why do we have that feeling? Where do people get that feeling?
Well, the fact that there is even more consciousness, generic consciousness among the populace that they are not participating or they are not being carried along, means that we are making progress. Because in the past, it was not like that. In the past, people had resigned. People had resigned. They never thought they would be part of the process of governance and what have you. But now people are conscious of that. So that's a progress. Now, with regards to the issue of defection, like he said, it's only an indication of a maturing democracy in this country.
Okay.
We are still maturing, and when you look at it, our laws with regard to defections have not really been tested. Of course, there have been some decisions even up to the Supreme Court level, but there are still gray areas that have not been addressed.
Such as?
Well, for example, the defectors are claiming that there is a division. Now, this issue of division, has still not been properly defined.
Now, define for us. You are a legal practitioner. What does it take to defect?
Well, there's a decision of the Supreme Court, which was given in 2015, which says that not any crisis in a political party amounts to a defection. Artificial division, rather. Artificial, division is not division per se. Division must give rise to a situation whereby the political party is unable to conduct its affairs in compliance with the Constitution. But you will agree with me that this still is a cumbersome concept. It has to be further broken down. Which is why, there's still need for judicial interpretation, for this issue of division. And with this experience, I'm sure there might be litigation, which will solve this problem, which will answer this question of what sort of division, warrants somebody to cross carpet from one party to another.
And I believe some of those things will be actually explained, like you already said. There should be judicial interpretation, and that is more of such one.
Yes.
So, which is where the Constitution, of course, will already step in to help us. The different area, the different arms of government, looking into all those ones, and everyone following in that. Now, for some, I believe after 19 years of this uninterrupted democratic experiment in Nigeria, our democracy should by this moment will have gotten beyond what we have. Some of those gray areas that we're talking about.
Take the barometers. Take, for example, the press. The press, to a certain extent, is vibrant. You will all agree with me. We have a number of newspapers and what have you. The social media is vibrant to a certain extent where it has to be kept in check because of fake news and what have you. So that's one indicator, the press. Secondly, like I said, the elections. And then thirdly, you can also look at the fact that today we have in government a party which was in the opposition in the past. Now that was quite a landmark for a sitting president to be defeated. That's a milestone. That shows that we are making serious progress. We cannot get there overnight. It cannot work like that. But we are definitely making progress. We have to be patient.
Well, being patient, I'm sure there are still some things that we need to start running with. Let's get back to Professor. Now, what role should political parties play? Political parties, critical partners in democracy, and everyone who believe that they have a stake. In fact, it should be everyone, because if we say it's the government of the people, by the people, and for the people, so it's all encompassing. But what critical role should we begin to play, whether we're from the political parties or other stakeholders as we have them?
Thank you very much. Once a party is registered, it is the party should concentrate in doing what the national interest is wanted the party to do. If you look at, before any party is registered, it must fulfill the requirement of the national interest. That's why, as part of this requirement for the party to be registered by INEC, That means there is an ideology.
Okay.
The party must have an ideology. There is no party that is registered that does not have an ideology.
Or maybe they're not strong enough?
The ideology is there, that's why it is registered as a political party. And that ideology must be in consonance with the national ideology. And once the implementer of these parties debate, they start to get problem within themselves, within the party. You see, we are maturing. That's why now you see that politicians goes back to their constituency and they are being chased out by masses because the awareness is there. Unlike before, you will be voted, you go, you stay 3 months or 2 years, you don't even know what is happening in your constituency.
The next elections around the corner.
Exactly. But now you can't do that. People are aware, people are becoming aware. You can't tell lies now because people knows what the regulation of your party. People know the responsibility that is scheduled on you as an elected member of that constituency. So unlike before, when you come, you just manipulate your people and the people are there. But now you can see even the election processes has been improved. Now you cannot go and do the manipulation that we have been doing before. The card reader is there now. Even if you want to manipulate, the card reader is there. So we are maturing.
So the political parties have what they need to push in that direction.
Exactly.
Okay. Professor Sani Yahaya and also Mr. Hamzat Kudaji will be going on a break now. We'll go briefly to the streets. We actually talked to some people on what they thought about deepening democratic practices, and we'll get to see that. Let's get to the streets.
Our constitution should be thoroughly reviewed so that will strengthen so many institutions in order to stand firmly.
If all our politicians will be looking for posts for the essence of the national interest, not for personal self-gain, I think we are going to develop like all other developed countries.
If two parties can be in this country, it will bring the whole system into an alignment where people will not be having this cause of defecting from one party to the other. And whosoever that is in a particular party should be able to stake and build up that party and make that party to be more solid.
You have to be focused on something to do. Like in our institution, you have to develop it.
In my own personal opinion, I think we should actually strengthen our institutions. Because if our institutions are strengthened, they will be performing optimally. It will go a long way in enhancing our democracy.
Yes, views from the streets, 19 years of uninterrupted democratic transition, and the people want more. Your observation on what was said?
Well, people will always want more because we are not yet there. It's not all Uhuru. The utopia will always be sought after by everybody, and that's a good notion.
Well, someone talked about strong institutions, which are some of the things we've always talked about. The people really want such institutions to work.
We have to agree that from 1999 till the point we are, our institutions have been growing stronger. We have to admit that fact. For example, when you look at the National Assembly, the National Assembly has actually grown stronger for many factors, one of which has to do with the disposition of this president. He took a very good position, to protect the doctrine of separation of powers and what have you.
Which is key.
And that triggered the National Assembly to deliver some of the things they have delivered, because we have to admit they've delivered some very good pieces of legislation. We have to give that credit to our evolving democracy. We haven't gotten there yet, but I believe personally that we're making some progress.
Okay, Prof?
Yeah, I think we are on the right path. Like he said, if you look at what has fared from inception of this government that came in, you can see that all the three tiers of the government are working. Each one is claiming to do the right thing according to its independent power. You can see the National Assemblies are also doing their own. The executive is doing their own, and none of them is interfering with the other. You can see the president will send some bills, some names for the National Assembly to clear, and it takes them time. It takes them time to do that. That is to show that they are maturing. Unlike before, it's a matter of when the president signed, without even looking into the nitty-gritty, without looking into the details of these people are being cleared, you know. And but now the National Assembly takes time to check and cross-check before they clear any other person, and we have found instances where names are sent and they were declined because of certain information that were not dictated by any, you know. So that's to tell you that the political processes is maturing, and now we are maturing more. This part of defection that we are talking about is not a bad thing in disguise. People defect for many reasons.
Which you've explained already. I want you to now look into what area beyond the defection. Let's take a look at the people's involvement, free participation, not necessarily because you're a money bag and I know I can come and just impose a candidate on you. It should be something that's clearly free for me to actually go to.
Yes.
Or other aspects too, let's take a look at opposition, strong opposition to actually keep the government whatever level in check.
Let me say 2 or 3 things.
Okay.
The democratic space has been widened or is being widened.
Okay.
For example, take the issue of political parties. You know, virtually every other month you hear of political parties being registered. Now look at the not too young, you know, bill which has been passed. It has further widened the political space. Now you should also look at the primaries of political parties of recent. For example, the primaries that was conducted in Osun State, the direct primaries. I think that further widened the democratic space.
Okay, Prof.
Yeah, I think that is very correct. You see, now the issue of money politics is getting is dying by the day, because if you think you have the money, you want to manipulate people and buy them, now it's no more. The process, the electionary process now that is being put into play, you find that now it's not even the delegate. You see that the new chairman of the APC now came in and he is bringing a new innovation, even though it has been in practice before. But now the new innovation is taking care of the issue of this internal wrangling between politicians. That part of the wrangling brought about some of the defection that we are seeing, and because of that, Mr. X has played me out by taking all the delegates and what have you, so that during the election I will not be elected, as during the primary I will not be allowed to win. That aspect has been taken care now, because now that everybody is going to be a direct election, and where a direct election is mean that's democracy. The process of democracy is election, and election mean to elect the person you want at the right time.
Okay, and so, now talking about election, another round of elections around the corner come 2019. Yes. What should Nigerians actually do to help deepen further what we have as our democratic process?
Nigerians should elect a good leader. Nigerians should make sure that anybody that give them money, let them collect the money and go ahead and elect a right person that will bring a positive change, the right person that will bring the national interest, not personal interest. Nigeria has started to realize, has started to understand that yes, today politics is not like yesterday. And you can see that there are, if people are being chased out now in their constituency, you will know that yes, masses has begun to understand that you people, politics of money will not come in now. Politics of deceit, politics of manipulation will not work. You have to, once you are elected, you have to do the right thing. You have to do what is expected of you as a leader, as an elected person representing a people, not representing yourself, not your personal interest.
Any other concern of yours that could further threaten or that might threaten what we have already?
Well, I think the National Assembly should resume. I'm pleading with them. They should resume and then come and work. No, they should cut it short, because there's a pending request, you know, for funding, you know, to INEC, you know, for monies required, you know, to conduct the 2019 election. That's very, very important. I think the National Assembly should rise above whatsoever interest and look at this issue. You know, because it could constitute a problem. And then for the general populace, I would say, of course, let's all get our PVCs and let's introspect, let's ponder before, you know, casting our vote, so that we vote for the right person that will move the country forward or keep moving the country forward.
All right, thank you very much. Hamzan Gudaji, legal practitioner, thank you for your insights and for coming on Nigeria Today. We also like to appreciate Professor Muhammad Sani Heya. He's the Deputy National Coordinator, Buhari Campaign Organization. Thank you for your thoughts as well.
Thank you very much.
An invitation.
Thank you very much.
Well, this is where we draw the curtain, and on behalf of the entire crew, we'd like to appreciate you. Tomorrow is another time to join us 7:30 in the evening. And don't forget that you can actually watch this edition of the program or any of the past editions at all on www.youtube.ntnews24/hub. My name is Blessing Abu. Thank you for watching. See you again tomorrow.